Good morning, Karl.
Good morning, Stephanie.
Don't call me Stephanie.
Good morning, Shirley.
Oh, how's everything going back there right now, Karl?
It's going well. I do have a shameless plug to make.
Well, make your shameless plug.
Yeah. This Saturday, coffeewithkarl.com with Thom Hartmann. So, but coffeewithkarl.com this Saturday afternoon with Thom Hartmann. It's going to be fun.
That sounds really fancy and educational, which is very fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to write 3 books while we're talking.
Of course he is.
He's going to write 3 books while we're talking.
Of course he is.
I believe
because that's what he does.
Yeah.
It's the hidden history of something I've learned.
Yes, it'll be the history of our ages. And it's already published on Amazon.
And then a second book will be the history of coffee.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Karl. So I'm just curious. I want to ask. Where are you guys at as far as reopening schools back there?
We have upwards of 90% of our teachers and staff have been vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Fully vaccinated, and virtual kids, and we've got the in-person kids, and the in-person kids have been returned, all of them. The in-person kids have been returned, all of them, for 2 days a week hybrid instruction.
Right.
Of late, the CDC has new guidance that lowers the amount of social distancing required.
Yeah, they moved it from 6 feet to 3.
That we have in, which means we could go from 2 days of 2 feet, 2 days of in-person instruction for those children that requested in-person to 4. And that's something that I would support. Look, we want to follow the health guidance that we're getting as best we can, keep everybody safe, and get as many kids back into school as possible, as safely as possible.
Yeah, and I've always felt like teachers and faculty need to be one of the first groups vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Because that frees up parents to be able to go back to their work. Opening the schools has been such a huge part of this. And I was curious about the experience for you guys.
We're very grateful that Virginia expedited vaccines for school staff and employees. There's no health guidance out there that says that teachers and staff needed to be vaccinated first. The CDC certainly never said that, but providing people with a certain level of comfort and a reasonable assurance that even if they do get sick, they're not going to end up in the hospital. I think, every employer should have been trying to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and what was it? There was a story that just came out, I believe, yesterday. It was apparently OSHA stopped responding to complaints around the time COVID started, and it makes you have to go. It was who was it? It was out of Omaha. They had done a story. Did I send this one to you, Chris?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if
about the meatpacking plants.
But it was specifically, it was more oriented towards the meatpacking plants. But basically, what the study said, or what this reporting said, was that as soon as they knew that there was going to be slower response on complaints and stuff, and they knew there was going to be an increase in complaints, but OSHA would basically contact the company would respond, and there would be no investigation. They would be trusting that the company was doing what they said. And that's how you get into things like what was going on at Tyson, where they were just ignoring protocols and
loading everybody up into buses next to each other.
Yeah.
In communities that are already disproportionately impacted and closer together in, buildings and apartments and whatnot. That was the Trump administration's, certainly showing its care for the people it's charged to serve. Thankfully we've turned the page on that. I've been excited to see the progress that's been made in vaccination.
Yes.
I heard somewhere that Virginia's at 50% already.
Wow, congratulations.
Really?
Thank you. But, Biden's done a great job of getting it out there.
Yeah.
My worry is really about the vaccine hesitancy. There's different groups of people that are hesitant to get the vaccine. And I think we need to address the concerns of the folks who are hesitant but would be convincible that it's an appropriate thing to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think there is a push going on right now to get the some pushable people towards vaccines. I saw a PSA on TV this morning here in the state of California. The California Surgeon General, who is herself an African American woman, got in a PSA was saying, I know that our community has been hurt by medicine before, but this is solid medicine. That's why I got the vaccine. That's why I got my parents to get the vaccine. We all need to get the vaccine. So we've got that going on here in California, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And it needs to continue.
Yeah.
Especially in African American and Hispanic populations.
Yep.
Where vaccines are less likely to be accepted.
Right.
And
red areas too.
Can change that.
Red areas too. There has. Yeah. I am driving up to a red area of Los Angeles County today to get a vaccine because they have.
You hanging out with my parents?
I think even further north than that, actually. That's where I'm going to get a vaccine because they have a surplus up there. So I'm going to get my first jab today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And somebody who got his vaccine in January and didn't tell anybody could have really set an example for the rest of the country and changed the direction of the conversation with conservatives around the vaccine. We're seeing this politicized because of one person.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, and there's reporting. I saw something this morning that people around Trump are trying to get him to go on the record and say more and do more to get people vaccinated, and he refuses to do it.
He said one thing to Maria Bartiromo. That's it. It needs to be way more than that.
If he shot a PSA that they ran only on Fox News and One America News and Freedom Liberty News and whatever the other ones are called.
I don't think OAN would run a PSA like that. Honestly don't.
They started cutting people off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you don't know. Maybe Trump's too worried that this strain of science denial has taken such a root in the conservative movement that they'd call him a rhino if he came out too strongly for the vaccine.
I think you're right.
Well, I remember a couple weeks ago, I think it was Claire McCaskill was saying she thinks that part of what it is Trump's afraid that he doesn't have the sway that he thinks he does over these people. That if they don't listen to him, it shows that he doesn't have the control that he wants everyone to believe he has.
I don't think he'd ever acknowledge that, but I think he would calculate that he can keep Biden from getting a critical mass of the vaccine.
Yeah, and that would be a win for him.
And that's just how despicable he is and how good it is that he's no longer president.
Yeah. I mean, but his businesses are suffering, so that's a good sign.
And they've been suffering the whole time. Why do you think he turned the government into his cash cow?
Exactly.
He knew that they were suffering.
And his plane is rusting.
The plane's rusted out.
I love that story. Did you see that?
I didn't know gold could rust.
He was using fake gold. That's why it's rusting. Brass.
I think they call it fool's gold.
Yes.
That would be Mr. Trump for sure. No, what was it? There's a story that just came out yesterday. Apparently, a luxury travel site has dropped all of the Trump properties from their listings.
Well, they can't drop the Trump name fast enough. Look, I mean, nobody wants, their building or anything else associated with that brand. They're turning. It's gotten to the point where the Trump family has to count on the political chits that it had to make a dime. Look at what they're doing in Florida, right? They're trying to get the ability to turn their resorts into casinos.
Yeah.
Because casinos worked out so well for them before.
I was going to say, that's not a winning game plan for Donald.
No, it never has been.
We're going to write everything on purple. Wait, there's no purple? Purple. We're putting everything on purple.
He's so bad at running casinos that his building in Las Vegas doesn't even have a casino in it. It's just a tower of condos.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's no casino in the Trump Tower in Vegas.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, we saw what happened to his last one in Atlantic City. It was last month. Yeah, it was last month.
They exploded it?
It fall down, go boom. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That was... I feel like America needed that moment.
Some metaphors are just written perfectly.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Carl. And now, trying to think what else there is. What do you think about what's going on down at the border as far as Republicans are kicking up a lot of dirt, but they don't seem to care about the kids down there, do they?
They've never cared about the kids.
No.
Look, it's not like people are coming here for no reason or sending their children here for no reason. So it takes compassion and it takes a thoughtful approach to this. And
Yes.
I'm grateful that President Biden is in office,
Yes.
so that we can stop doing what Trump did.
Right.
And I look forward to hearing what Kamala Harris has to say.
I'm grateful.
She's been charged with the responsibility of getting this worked out, and it's multiple things that have to be addressed: the pathway to citizenship, immigration reform, our relations with the countries where people are fleeing,
the economic conditions in those countries that people are fleeing from, economic and political conditions.
Right.
Well, that's also
and the look, a lot of people are fleeing because of threats to their lives from criminal enterprises in those places.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. People never had a problem with Cubans coming here, fleeing a repressive regime, because they voted Republican. Yep. So as long as they had one foot on soil, they were allowed to stay. And I wish that people would show compassion regardless of political ideology, but I don't think empathy or compassion are something that is in the conservative DNA of late.
No.
Yeah, it seems to be mostly about complaining. That seems to be the only thing they want to do is complain,
Was it in the conservative DNA when you were a Republican?
No, I can't actually think of a time before the great civil rights changeover. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was 60, 70 years ago.
Right.
So.
Right. Huh.
But I also, like you said, you mentioned Kamala being in charge of this. I love this because also I feel like this is something really good to put in her portfolio, because she's going to be dealing with these countries in South America and how to fix problems down there. And the diplomatic side of it, I think, is going to be a really growing experience for her as far as the public is concerned. Yeah.
And I think Biden knows that you can entrust your vice president with significant projects that need, close attention. That's why Obama put him in charge of the economic recovery in the Obama administration. And it's good to see him treating his vice president, with a similar level of respect and trust. And look, the American people are responding to this administration. When you've seen a president maintain a 60% plus approval rating for, it's only been 2 months. Can you believe it?
I know.
For 2 months. I was going to say for an entire year.
So much has happened. It feels that way.
It feels like
right. Yeah. But it says something, right? The previous administration was stuck in the high 30s to low 40s for the entirety of the administration.
Yeah.
So, and they're less popular now, but it says something that more than 60% of the country is supportive of what this administration is doing.
Yeah. No, it's exciting to
feels
see.
Good. It feels good. It feels like someone's in charge, someone's doing something, and we're moving in the right direction out of the pandemic. It feels that way.
It feels like I don't have to worry too much about the right thing being done. Obviously, we need to continue to voice our opinions about making sure that we get as much done as we can when we're making deals. Look, I wanted the $15 minimum wage just like everybody else did. So we need to continue to put pressure on things like that. But I don't have to worry that they're not going to do anything for people who need help. Because they are going to do whatever they can.
But it's also just not feeling that constant anxiety over what am I going to wake up to the next morning?
Or hearing the buzz on the phone and wondering,
oh God, what did he do now?
The news
every
alerts.
Day is not a. Although I guess he's starting his own social media platform.
It's going to be called Well, he's going to be starting one, and then My Pillow guy is starting one called Frank.
Frank?
Yeah.
Frank. Yes, I was reading about that last night.
I spelled with a Q. Is it spelled with a Q?
Oh, that would be
F-R-A-N-Q.
That would be real rich if it were, but no, it's just Frank, as in a dude, Frank.
Right.
Or being Frank.
Yeah, being Frank. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Nice play on words there.
Frank is the conservative version of Karen. I think that makes sense.
Oh my God.
The male version of Karen.
They can do a female spin-off site called Karen.
What is Trump going to call his?
I have no idea. I think it's just an idea that he has out there. I don't think he has any plans to do it. I think it's just something he says he's going to do, just to keep his.
It's going to be a knockoff of Twitter.
Yeah,
it's going to be that little bird with an orange comb over.
Right. Exactly.
He's probably going to have people come in and present him with ideas for what they want to do for their social media platforms, and then he'll give them a licensing deal.
Yeah,
because that's slap his name on it. So yeah, exactly.
Not a lot of creativity going on there.
There never has been.
No.
All right, Coffee with Karl.
Yes,
that's right. Thom Hartmann this Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
Coffeewithkarl.com. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's not a one-way conversation. People can comment and talk. It's great.
Sweet. With both you and Thom Hartmann. So that would be awesome. All right. Karl, thank you so much. Right. We appreciate everything.
Good job, Stephanie.
Oh, thanks.
Clearly you don't think I'm Stephanie.
All right. Talk to you later, Karl.
Right.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Ow.